In 2021, something happened in the car market that had never happened before in recorded history. Used cars started selling for more than new ones. A 3-year-old Toyota RAV4 was trading at auction for $4,000, above the price of a brand new one sitting on the lot next door. The average used car price jumped 37% in a single year. Dealers were photographed posting $10,000 markups on pre-owned Corollas. Buyers were lining up to pay them, and almost nobody stopped to ask the obvious question. If a car can hold its value through a global crisis, who decided it was supposed to lose value the moment you drove it off the lot? Not physics, not economics. That depreciation curve was engineered. Automakers and finance departments spent 50 years building a system that only works if you keep buying new, keep signing longer loans, and keep believing that old means inferior. The person who traded in their 2007 Accord in 2019 for a brand new crossover watched their replacement bleed $18,000 in value over 3 years, while paying $750 a month for the privilege. But there was a specific group that never traded in, who kept driving their decade-old sedan, ignored every TV commercial, and refused to attach their identity to a vehicle. The 2021 crash exposed what they already knew. Their car was worth more than ever. Their payment was zero. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that group figured out, and how you can make the same move right now, regardless of what you're currently driving. This is why the smartest people on the road are driving older cars. There is a chemical in your brain called dopamine. It fires not when you receive a reward, but when you anticipate one. This is a critical distinction. The moment you walk into a dealership and inhale that new car smell, your brain is not experiencing pleasure. It is experiencing the prediction of pleasure, and that prediction is far more powerful than the thing itself. That smell is not accidental. It is a cocktail of volatile organic compounds released by fresh plastics, adhesives, and synthetic fabrics. Automakers and their suppliers have spent decades studying it. Some manufacturers spray a synthetic version into pre-owned vehicles to artificially recreate the sensation. They know exactly what it does to your decision-making ability, which is to say, it nearly shuts it down. A 2021 study published in the Journal of Consumer Psychology found that people in a positive sensory environment made significantly riskier financial decisions and underestimated long-term costs. You walk into a showroom and your senses get flooded. Soft lighting, cool air, a sales associate who smells expensive. The car is sitting under a spotlight like a piece of art. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for financial reasoning, quietly steps aside. And the industry knows the window. Research from car buying behavior studies shows that most buyers make their final decision within the first 20 minutes of sitting in a vehicle. Not after reviewing loan terms, not after calculating the total cost of ownership, after feeling it. They are not selling you a car, they are selling you a feeling. And feelings, as it turns out, are extraordinarily expensive. In the 1950s, General Motors chairman Alfred Sloan articulated a strategy that would define the next 70 years of car buying. He called it the ladder of consumption. The idea was simple. Every American should feel that their current car is one rung below where they deserve to be. Chevrolet for the entry-level buyer, Pontiac for the aspirational one, Buick for the comfortable, Cadillac for the arrived. The car you drove was not transportation. It was a public declaration of your social rank. That ladder never went away. It just got more sophisticated. Today, automakers do not sell horsepower and fuel economy. They sell identity. BMW does not sell you a car. It tells you that you are the kind of person who drives a BMW. The tagline, "The ultimate driving machine," is not a product claim. It is a mirror. It reflects an image of who you believe you could be, and then charges you $65,000 for the reflection. A 2023 Edmunds survey found that 35% of new car buyers admitted that peer perception significantly influenced their purchase decision. 1 in 3, and those are only the ones who admitted it. The anxiety runs deep. Pulling up to a school pickup in a 10-year-old car feels different from pulling up in something new. That discomfort has been seeded over decades of advertising, television, and social media feeds engineered to make you feel behind. If this is landing, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Because everything covered so far, the psychology, the status game, that is just how they get you into the building. What happens inside the finance office is something else entirely. According to Edmunds, the average monthly new car payment in the United States crossed $735 in late 2024. For luxury vehicles, the average sits closer to $1,100 per month. To put that in context, in 2010, the average new car payment was around $450. The payment has nearly doubled in 15 years, while wages have not come close to keeping pace. The way the industry absorbed this problem was not to make cars more affordable. It was to stretch the time. In 2009, virtually no lender offered a car loan beyond 60 months. By 2024, nearly 20% of all new car loans in the United States were 84 months or longer, 7 years. When you ask a dealer what a car costs, they will rarely quote you the price. They will quote you the payment. This is a deliberate technique. A $55,000 vehicle becomes an $799 a month conversation, and most buyers accept that frame without ever calculating what they are actually paying in total. At a 7.1% interest rate over 84 months on a $45,000 vehicle, you will pay over $12,000 in interest alone. The car will be worth roughly $18,000 when the loan is paid off. You will have paid $57,000 for an asset worth $18,000. The trap does not end there. Negative equity is now endemic in the American car market. Cox Automotive reported that in 2024, nearly 1 in 3 trade-ins carried negative equity. Buyers roll that debt into the next loan, and the cycle starts again, deeper than before. They do not call it a trap, they call it financing. In 2022, BMW introduced a subscription service in certain markets that charged drivers a monthly fee to activate heated seats already physically installed in the car. The hardware was there, the wiring was there, the function was deliberately locked behind a paywall, an $18 per month charge to sit comfortably in winter. The backlash was loud enough that BMW eventually walked it back. But the experiment told you everything about where this is going. Tesla has charged up to $15,000 for a full self-driving software package delivered over the internet. General Motors quietly discontinued remote access features for older vehicles, effectively disabling functionality owners had already paid for. Ford and Stellantis have both filed patents for technology that can disable vehicle features when loan payments are missed, remotely and in real time. You're no longer buying a car, you're licensing a vehicle. The distinction matters enormously. A 2024 study by the American Consumer Institute found that 62% of new car buyers were unaware their vehicle contained software features subject to future charges or potential removal. They signed the contract without reading the digital terms woven into it. Modern vehicles now contain over 100 million lines of code, more than a Boeing 787. And unlike a Boeing 787, your car's manufacturer can update that code overnight, add charges, remove features, or monitor your driving behavior in ways that did not exist when you signed the papers. You thought you bought the car, you bought access to it. And the next chapter will show you what happens when that access starts to expire on a timeline the manufacturer controls, not you. There is a moment that every modern car owner eventually faces. The warranty expires, and in that same week something breaks that costs more to repair than any reasonable person would expect. This is not a coincidence. Planned obsolescence has existed in manufacturing since the 1920s, when General Motors first introduced the annual model cycle to make last year's car feel inadequate. The digital age has made it surgical. Modern vehicles integrate proprietary software systems, branded infotainment platforms, and electronic control modules that cannot be repaired by an independent mechanic. They can only be diagnosed and replaced at a certified dealer using parts that carry a considerable markup. A 2023 report by Consumer Reports found that tech-heavy modern cars and EVs are generating significantly more repair concerns than their predecessors. The average repair cost for a vehicle outside of warranty has increased 42% since 2019, according to data from AAA. The parts themselves are part of the design. Many modern vehicles use proprietary fasteners, sealed battery modules, and dealer-locked calibration systems for basic components like windshields and brake sensors. Replacing a front camera on a 2023 Ford F-150 can cost over $1,800 because the system requires dealer-level recalibration after installation. The dealer does not profit from your car lasting. The manufacturer does not profit from your car lasting. The entire financial architecture of modern automotive retail is built on the assumption that your vehicle becomes a burden at exactly the right moment to send you back to the showroom. The obsolescence is not a flaw in the system, it is the system. Here is what the industry does not want you to price out. A 2003 Honda Accord with 120,000 miles on it costs roughly $6,000 to $8,000 on today's market. Its engine is a 2.4-litre four-cylinder with virtually no electronic complexity. The entire vehicle can be diagnosed with a $30 OBD reader from Amazon. Most repairs can be completed by any independent mechanic, often for a fraction of dealership rates. Parts are abundant and cheap because tens of millions of those vehicles of that generation were built, and the supply chain is deep. The total cost of owning that car for 5 years, including insurance, registration, fuel, and routine maintenance, will typically fall between $15,000 and $22,000, depending on your location and driving habits. The total 5-year cost of a new $40,000 crossover, when you factor in depreciation, loan interest, insurance, and rising maintenance costs after warranty expiry, will typically exceed $60,000. That is not a marginal difference. That is a second income. Older analog vehicles also carry a specific advantage in the current market. As software lock-ins and subscription features become standard in new cars, vehicles without those systems are becoming scarcer and more desirable to a growing segment of buyers. Prices on clean, well-maintained pre-2012 vehicles have held remarkably well since 2021. The people who bought them have not just avoided debt, they have quietly built an asset. And that raises a question that nobody in the auto industry wants you to sit with. What would you actually do with that extra $800 a month? The hardest part of this entire equation is not financial. The math is easy. The hard part is psychological. We have been conditioned since childhood to associate the car in the driveway with personal worth. The vehicle was how the neighborhood read your household. Upgrade the car, upgrade the signal. It is a deeply ingrained social script, and breaking it requires something that most personal finance content never addresses: ego dissolution. Dr. Juliet Shaw, a sociologist at Boston College, spent years studying what she called the new consumerism, the tendency of Americans to benchmark their spending not against their immediate neighbors, but against the aspirational class they see on television and social media. The car is one of the most visible and emotionally loaded entries in that benchmark. But the data on what that signal actually buys is sobering. A 2022 study from the University of Bath found that people consistently overestimate how much others notice or care about the cars they drive. The social return on a $700 monthly car payment is, in objective terms, nearly zero. The people whose opinion you are paying for are largely not paying attention. The shift that happens when you genuinely internalize this is not deprivation. It is freedom. Drivers who have made the conscious decision to separate their identity from their vehicle consistently report lower financial stress, higher savings rates, and a stronger sense of control over their own lives. The car becomes what it always was, a machine that moves you from one place to another, and that reframe is worth more than any rebate a dealer could offer. Let us run the actual numbers, because the gap between what most people believe and what the math reveals is staggering. The average American who finances a new car every 5 years will spend approximately $45,000 to $55,000 per vehicle cycle when you account for the purchase price, loan interest, accelerated depreciation, and higher insurance premiums on new vehicles. Over a 30-year driving career, that pattern will cost somewhere between $250,000 and $350,000 in direct vehicle spending alone. Now take the person who buys a reliable used vehicle for $8,000 to $12,000 every 7 to 10 years and maintains it well. Their 30-year vehicle cost, including all maintenance and insurance, will typically fall between $80,000 and $110,000. The difference is not theoretical money. It is real, investable money sitting on the table every single month. If that $600 monthly difference between a new car payment and a used car cost structure were invested in a broad index fund earning the historical average return of roughly 10% per year. Starting at age 30, the resulting portfolio at age 65 would exceed $1.3 million. You're not choosing between two cars, you're choosing between two completely different financial lives. Warren Buffett has driven relatively modest vehicles his entire career, despite being one of the wealthiest people alive. He has said in multiple interviews that he cannot justify the economics of a new car. When someone with a net worth north of $100 billion tells you the math does not work on a new car, that is worth sitting with. The rebellion is not about sacrifice, it is about clarity. And in the final chapter, here is exactly how to act on it. The quiet rebellion does not require a dramatic gesture. You do not need to sell your current car tomorrow or swear off showrooms forever. What it requires is a specific, deliberate shift in how you approach the next vehicle decision, because that decision, more than almost any other in your financial life, compounds directly into your net worth. The framework is straightforward. When your current vehicle becomes unreliable or fully paid off, resist the default path back to the dealership. Target vehicles between 8 and 15 years old from brands with documented long-term reliability records. Toyota, Honda, and Lexus consistently lead reliability rankings in independent studies from Consumer Reports and J.D. Power. Look for vehicles with under 100,000 miles and a clean service history. A pre-purchase inspection from an independent mechanic will cost you $100 to $150 and can save you thousands. Avoid financing a used vehicle unless the interest rate is below 5% and the loan term is under 36 months. The moment you stretch a loan on a depreciating used vehicle beyond 3 years, you're importing the same traps from the new car market into the used one. Insure the vehicle for its actual value. The annual savings on insurance alone will often cover routine maintenance twice over. Most importantly, take the money you are no longer sending to a bank every month and put it somewhere that grows. The smartest drivers on the road figured this out quietly, without announcements, without viral moments. They just stopped playing a game designed for them to lose. If this video shifted how you see the car in your driveway, subscribe, share it with someone still locked in a payment cycle.